Welcome everybody to our episode today. We're so glad you're joining us. We hope that you're enjoying these videos and that you guys are learning some stuff, feeling a sense of community, we hope. Today we're going to talk about just our philosophy in support groups and what does that mean. I think that a lot of times there's a stereotype of what support groups are or aren't. And so we kind of just wanted to talk through our approach and the way that we look at it. So why don't you tell them how we got started?
So in 2011, that's when we started having support groups. Sarah and I were approached about having a support group, and I know we've told you guys this many times. We were not in favor of it because we had the stereotypical viewpoint that they were depressing, that they were just everybody sitting around, you know, feeling sorry for themselves, and that there was no real beneficial outcome. I'd never actually attended a support group. I don't think you had either, but that's just what we thought they were. So we were not encouraged. Like, we didn't want to do that. We didn't.
Well, did anybody even say anything to you about a support group when you were going through anything?
I remember there was a sign in the radiologist's office that Mercy had a support group, like on a certain night of the week or of the month or whatever. And I just remember thinking, oh Lord,
I don't need
like
that.
First of all, I would never just show up by myself at a support, like that just seemed like the scariest thing. And just just depressing. It just all sounded so depressing. And I was trying personally to stay hope-filled.
Right.
And I thought, oh Lord, I'll just get there and I'll just sit there and cry the whole night.
Right.
I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So personally, I was trying to be filled with hope and encourage myself. And so I didn't see that I didn't think I was going to get that there, right, at a support group. But when we were approached about doing it, we said, sure, we'll do it, but they have to be hope-filled. And then we also felt like education was a great piece to add to it.
Right.
So we've had surgeons, breast surgeons, plastic surgeons, nutritionists, therapists, counselors, tattoo artists. I mean, you know, we have had every kind of. We've had acupressure, acupuncture,
art therapy.
Yeah, art therapy, massage therapists. I mean, lymphedema specialists. We have had lots and lots and lots of specialists come and talk to our groups. And so we loved the education piece too, because there's something about having that person in the room with you for an hour that you can ask all your questions, right? And you're not feeling the pressure of, oh, they have to get to their next patient or whatever.
Well, and sometimes I think listening to other people talk, you have a different perspective than I do, a different experience than I do, maybe farther along than I am. So she might be asking things, or you guys might want to ask things that we wouldn't have thought of. And so you learn a lot just from being in the environment and hearing other people.
For sure. And also, like, there's a lot of things I've forgotten. It's been a long time since I've been treated with chemo. I remember a lot of things, but I don't remember all the daily little nuances of it.
Well, and things are always changing.
They are.
Just from the time she was diagnosed, when I'm diagnosed, and now when we're sitting with people now, things change all the time. And even though she's 20 years out, I'm 20 years out, we're learning stuff all the time.
Yes,
like
absolutely.
Every day.
And protocols change, and drugs change, and all the things change. So it's just a good environment for women to feel heard, first of all, feel seen and heard. I know I felt so alone going through cancer, and I know you've expressed that too, that your peer group often is not experienced. I was 40, you were much younger. Our peer groups were not going through cancer, right? So you feel very alone. So it's nice to just walk in, and it's a group of women who you get it. They get it instantly. They get it, and you don't have to have the same diagnosis to get it.
Well, and like Jane said, our goal when we started. I remember the first night we started, we came in and we wanted to set the intention that we are here to be open and honest about our stories and where we are, but we really want to have a hope-filled tone, because we believe that Jesus is our healer and that he's with us, he's for us, he's good, but he's also created us as one body to have community with one another, to bring that comfort, like Jane was saying. So we wanted to kind of pair the hope with the education. And over time now, we've realized too that at first when we started, we didn't want to we wanted to have the speaker talk the whole time because we really were guarding the possibility of having any kind of toxic, environment. And so
No negativity,
yeah.
really.
And over time now we realized, okay, we got to let it breathe a little bit. So tell them what they can expect if they come to a meeting.
So the way we run our meetings, our in-person meetings, now Zoom is a little different,
Yeah.
and we'll talk about that in a sec, but our in-person meetings typically last an hour. We feel like that's sufficient unless you just have a giant group of people, which almost never happens. I would say our normal groups are 8 to 15 people. And so that's a nice group of ladies. Some of them will be leaders, some of them will be returnees, but some of them might be new people. It's their very first time. And new might not mean a new diagnosis. It might just mean they're new to support groups.
Right.
So for instance, we
That's a good point.
had a woman the other day, last month, who she's 3 years out. This is her first time to come to support groups. So that's not uncommon either. She's finished with treatment, thought she would feel emotionally better by now, isn't. And so now she's ready to engage in support group. We have people come the very first day. We have people come many years later, and everything in between.
Right.
We have people who come for a while and then sit out for a while and then come back when they have maybe, I don't know, something anxious, an MRI coming up or whatever. So you never know who's going to be in the room.
Right.
Right? But it's always going to be survivors. And the leadership is our leadership is always survivors. All of our leaders are survivors. And so expect to be greeted, expect to do a little sign-in sheet. We want to know who you are and how to get a hold of you later and notify you about upcoming visits. And then depending on the topic or if there's a speaker, we'll kind of go from there.
Right. And like she said, we intentionally keep it at an hour because oftentimes at the end of that time frame, ladies like to chit chat afterwards because the goal is for you guys to be educated, but also to form some friendships.
Right.
And so we want to give you that time. Just afterwards, you can step outside because sometimes, we're at the mercy of the facility as well. We want to be respectful. We are obviously respectful of time too. So we like to start on time.
Yes.
We like to end on time.
We do start on time.
Because
and
this
end
is
on
so
time.
emotional. Sometimes it can linger or it can go on. And so we like to make sure everybody has a turn or that we get to at least share a little bit if we need to. And then,
Yeah, if you have a question, it's a great place to ask your question. Because even if the leaders don't know, someone in the room might be going through exactly the same thing or has gone through the same thing. And so it's a wealth of information in that room usually.
yeah, and so once you come into our community, once we have you in our database, you'll start getting the updates on what's coming up for the week. Like Jane said, so we have a couple of in-person meetings if you're in the local areas of Tulsa, Enid, and Oklahoma City. And then we also do some online meetings, which we started that throughout COVID. So you guys are welcome to come on there as well. The first Tuesday of the month, we do Staring Cancer and the Faith, which is more of a faith narrative where really you're dialing into how it affects us on a spiritual level. And then that third Tuesday, we have speakers come online. And we do that too because sometimes you might not be comfortable to come in person yet. You might want to just check us out and come online, just see what it's like.
Maybe it's too far.
Yeah, or maybe you don't feel good and you can't get there. And so either way, our heart and our goal through support groups is to really offer you a place of hope, of encouragement, and of education. And so that's really our mindset and our philosophy in what a support group really is.
Right. And I think we've done a good job of keeping ours hope-filled and encouraging. That's the feedback that we get. People don't, well, let's just put it this way. We've had a lot of feedback from hospitals who have told us, we don't know how you keep your support groups so healthy for so long, So we take that as a really, that was our goal. We wanted a healthy environment for women to come and join us and talk about such a personal, and not happy topic. But I feel like we do a good job of balancing the emotions and the hopefulness.
I agree. So we'd love for you guys to join us. I hope most of you are, but if you're just checking us out on YouTube and you'd like to come online or come in person, we'd love to have you. And if you like the channel, please like it and give us a comment. If there's something that you'd like to see in a support group, we will look into that. We probably have some access to that person. So we hope to see you soon, and we'll see you next time.